In the review of Chapter 1492, we focused on everything revealed about Takeshi Sendo, his explosive return, his wild strategy, and how he shocked the boxing world. But today we shift the spotlight to someone else, someone who until now seemed almost untouchable. Ricardo Martínez. If you haven't watched the previous review yet, I highly recommend it, especially if you want a full breakdown of Sendo's mindset and his insane approach to taking down the champion. But now let's dive into what makes Ricardo so fascinating and his similarities with Ippo. The chapter opens with Ricardo arriving at his hotel. We're told he gained about 3 kilograms since the official weigh-in. Now in the world of boxing, some fighters gain a massive amount of weight after the weigh-in, but in Ricardo's case, 3 kilograms is a solid, controlled increase. It tells us something. His body is tuned to perfection. He's not overdoing it, he's precise. At the hotel, we see his team. Some faces are completely unfamiliar, likely sparring partners brought in just for this camp, randoms really. But there are 2 that stand out. First, there's Nargo, a Mexican boxer who not only trains regularly with Ricardo, but also fought Sendo professionally. Then there's another boxer, clearly modeled to imitate Ricardo's style, or maybe he's just a Mexican stereotype. Now here's where it gets interesting. Everyone on the team speaks as if the outcome is inevitable, Ricardo will win. It's fate. But Nargo, who has faced Sendo in the ring, isn't so sure. He warns the others, saying Sendo is dangerous, that his power is unmatched in the featherweight division. The Ricardo copy guy is stunned. Are you saying he hits harder than Ricardo? And Nargo without hesitation says yes, Sendo hits harder than Ricardo Martínez. Let that sink in. We know Ricardo hits like a truck. We've seen it in his fight against AG Date. One clean shot to the body almost ended the match, and yet here we are hearing that Sendo might hit even harder. It raises a question. Has Ricardo ever faced someone who could truly shake him? This moment gets even more weight when Ricardo's coach, Bill Stewart, steps in. He confirms that Nargo has sparred with both men and that his words carry weight. Everyone in the room goes quiet. Because suddenly, the idea of Ricardo losing doesn't seem so far-fetched. Then we get a flashback, the infamous sparring session. Ricardo hit the canvas after taking a shot from Sendo. They called it an accident, brushed it off, but now it feels more like a warning. Stewart then explains what many had suspected. Ricardo's match against Wally was part of a greater plan. It was a test, a way to prepare Ricardo for an opponent like Sendo. Unpredictable, savage, willing to break his own body to land that one perfect punch. At this point, we see Ricardo in a quiet moment, lying down, gazing at the stars. But he's not relaxing. He's visualizing, simulating the fight in his mind. We've seen this before. Ricardo is methodical. He studies his opponents in detail, like we saw in his sparring with Ichiro Miyata. But now we learn something new. He runs the entire match in his mind over and over again before the first bell even rings. He takes the first round, uses it as a benchmark, and compares it to his expectations. If things align, he adapts. If not, he recalculates. It's like watching a living computer. But then, something happens. Ricardo, for the first time, can't see the path forward. The simulation breaks. He can't predict what Sendo will do, and instead of panicking, he smiles. This man, he says, is truly interesting. And with that, we understand what makes Ricardo so terrifying. It's not just his technique, it's not just his power, it's that he thrives when pushed into uncertainty. But let's step back for a moment, because there's someone else who's been simulating fights in his head, someone we all know, Ippo Makunouchi. Back in chapter 13-16, after watching both the Sendo vs Alfredo Gonzalez fight and the Ricardo vs Billy McCollum match, Ippo returned to Japan. He had a conversation with Coach Kamogawa that reveals just how much Ippo has grown. He told Kamogawa that on the flight home, he imagined himself as Sendo, facing Ricardo Martínez 100 times in his mind. And he lost, every time, until attempt number 95. That's when he had an idea. What if he forced an exchange? What if he got close, so close, that even if he could only hit Ricardo's elbows or shoulders, he might create an opening? That one sliver of hope was all he needed to keep trying. Kamogawa asked, and what happened in the 101st fight? And Ippo replied, if you keep thinking until it hurts, even in a fight everyone says is impossible, there has to be a way to win. Your opponent is human too. As long as you keep moving your body and your heart, nothing is truly impossible. That's what he learned in Mexico, and that's what he wants to pass on to his students. Kamogawa was stunned, and so were we. Ippo ran 100 mental simulations against Ricardo, the exact same thing Ricardo is doing now. It's no coincidence that Miyata once said Sendo's chances of winning were 1 in 100. Maybe that wasn't just a metaphor coming from Morikawa. And that one opportunity Ippo found, forcing a brawl, trading punches at close range? The exact strategy Sendo might be using now, just one hit, that's all it could take. This isn't the only time Ippo used mental simulation. He did it again while training to fight Ryo Mashiba. And again when analyzing what Marcus Rosario was planning in the ring. It's become part of who he is. So the question is the author slowly transforming Ippo into a version of Ricardo Martínez? A calculated, powerful strategist, born from kindness but sharpened through pain? Let me know what you think in the comments. Is Ippo becoming Ricardo 2.0, or is he becoming something entirely new? Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe for more Hajime no Ippo content, because later this week, we'll dive into something even bigger, the explosive showdown between Ricardo Martínez and Takeshi Sendo. See you next time.